Hello, my name is Bob. Welcome to a short stop on pool. We recently got to watch Shane Van Boning play straight pool by himself for about a week and then Ruslan Chinakhov for about a day. I was impressed with both players, especially their ability to see the table. And what that means is when the rack gets opened, they could really quickly analyze where the trouble balls are, where the setup balls are, and in a general sense, how they're going to approach the table and just get right to business. The rack that I'm showing this week is a run that I made during a league match, and kind of the same thing happens. For that reason, this is going to be a pretty short rack of the week. Once you see the table, it usually doesn't take very long to run the remaining balls and get on your break shot. So let's get into the rack. This week's rack does not start with the break shot. The break ball was pocketed, and then there was a couple of safeties. My opponent attempted to leave me long and doubled up on that 6-9 combination, but I have just enough room to shoot the 9 ball. At the end of most safety battles, if you get a shot, most of the time, it's not going to be an easy shot. It's going to have some level of difficulty to it. Now that 9 ball is pretty much hanging in front of the pocket, so it's not too difficult of a shot. But it's a long shot, and these are 4 1/4 inch pockets, so it is missable. I was reminded of something that John Schmidt mentioned when he was in town and gave a clinic, and that's that pool is often a contest between which player can hold still better. And that's what I told myself when getting on this shot, just stay still. Obviously I can shoot either the 2 ball here or the 9 ball, or that's looks like the 1 ball next. So just pocket the 9 ball and stay down. Let's take a look and see how well I do. I've been working on head movement. Let's see if my head moves. Yeah, I moved a little bit. It's something to keep working on. But I stayed mostly still, made the ball, no problem, and now we're in business. So now you're going to see that I line up on the lowest ball in this cluster, because that's an obvious re-break shot to open the rack, and I would hit that with a strong follow stroke. For some reason, I decide to shoot the 1 ball first. I think part of the reason might be that if you shoot this ball and with a follow stroke into the stack, the cue ball is going to follow forward in this way, and it'll probably stay low on the table. And if so, I really don't have an insurance ball, because the pocket for this ball over here is blocked by looks like the 2 ball on the rail. If instead, let me clear this line work. If the 2 ball was here and this ball, the 1 ball, was here, then I could shoot this ball right now, and those would both function as insurance balls because both of them are clear to this corner pocket. That may be why I decided to clear those balls first. I'm not sure. It might also have been the fact that after shooting the 1, I could use the 2 ball to come 2 rails out to center table, and then I have a shot on the 6 to re-break the balls. So that's an option. We'll see in a moment here that I play position for the same ball. So I'm going to shoot this 2 ball and bring the cue ball up to this area. So I have a low angle or a parallel angle on this ball to open the cluster. So this shot is just a straight follow stroke. I'm not trying to do a lot with the cue ball, but I'm hitting it with a pretty firm stroke. I want that cue ball to open up that cluster, and you see the cue ball backed up and then went forward again. So that's pretty ideal. And it's at this point that I saw the entire table. And I hope that doesn't sound arrogant. It's not. Obviously, I don't know the precise order that I'm going to shoot all these balls, but the patterns are there. So let's take a quick look at what the table offers. Obviously, I've got 2 potential break balls, or 3. The 6 ball, and it looks like these 2 balls in this area here. Any of those would be a good break shot. So the first thing you want to look at is key balls. Well, I have a lack of the traditional key balls into the side pocket, so that's not going to work. So probably one of the balls in the rack area or one of these balls could become a key ball to bounce out for this break shot here. What are my trouble balls? Well, I've got 1 up table ball. I've got a small cluster here. However, that's going to be easy to deal with because it's kind of a shooting gallery. All 3 of these balls go in the lower left corner pocket. The other trouble area is these 2 balls. So either of them could be a break ball. If I have to choose one, I would prefer the upper one, the higher break ball. But I want to be able to remove one of those to clear a path for the other. That means shooting one of these balls into this corner pocket. Well, how do I get position on that? And that's where one of these balls can come in handy. In fact, I think that the 3 ball is a perfect key ball to get position to shoot one of these balls in the corner pocket. So that's an example of a setup ball. The 3 ball sets me up to be able to open these. In the same way that the 6 ball sets me up. It's very easy to play position in this area for one of these balls in the corner pocket. So that's what I'm seeing, is a setup ball on this side of the table and a setup ball on this side of the table to deal with my trouble. Now the first ball that I have to shoot, I only have one shot, and that's this ball, long cut shot up in the corner pocket. But that's an easy shot. Now, it's certainly possible to cut this ball in and bounce the cue ball off the rail and hold it in this area to shoot the 4 in this corner pocket. I think it clears. If it doesn't, then that's an easy decision. I'll just bounce all the way out to center table to play the 6 or possibly the 8. The problem with playing position for the 4 is that it's very easy to get the wrong angle, and my cue ball is going to hit this stripe, and it's going to be very hard to play position. I definitely want to be straight in or have a low angle on this 4 ball so that my cue ball moves out into the open after shooting it. So for that reason, I don't want to try and hold the cue ball for the 4. I'm going to shoot this stripe up in the corner and play the cue ball into the center table. Once again, a little bit of a difficult shot, very missable, especially on tight pockets. I stayed down a little bit better, but I'd like to stay down longer on my shots, and that's something I'm working on. Anyway, the cue ball's in an ideal position. My choice of shots now are let me pause it. My choice of shots are the up table ball, and it'd be easy to play position over here for this stripe. That would be a good play. This is a bit of a trouble ball. It's close to the rail, up by the side pocket. Not a real big concern though. I could shoot the 8 ball, but that really doesn't get me anywhere. I really like the 6 because I'm close to straight in, and I can get to this zone to shoot these balls. So again, I don't know the exact order that I'm going to shoot all these balls, but everything I just mentioned is in my mind as I'm deciding what to shoot. But I don't want to labor the thought process. There's so many options that it's important to stay in a rhythm. So we're going to see me shoot this 6 ball. And part of the reason is that the 9 ball is on the same side of the table as these 2 balls. So I can get this up table ball and transition to the 3 and the 8 later. And you see what I did there is, rather than shooting the 6 ball and playing position for, get my pointer, rather than shooting the 6 and playing position right now for this area to shoot these balls, I realized that this is a ball that needs to be eliminated, and the 6 made it easy to get on that ball, and that ball is right where I need to be to get on this cluster. So it really helps the pattern to eliminate this ball now, rather than shoot these and have to play position later, probably over here to shoot this stripe. So I think that was a real good choice, especially when you know that you have nearly 100% chance of getting perfect position up in this corner pocket. Now I think I just want to make the lowest ball in this cluster and draw back to play the next ball. Got a little bit close to my work, but that's very, very workable. Now you want to think about what order to shoot these remaining balls, because at this point I have 6 balls left, so I'm definitely in the end pattern. Now normally I would like to have these 2 balls open already before I plan an end pattern, but because the 3 ball is such an excellent setup ball for the 4, I don't need to panic. This isn't a cluster that needs to be opened. I'm going to have options to be able to get on my break ball. Obviously the 6 ball is no longer a break ball, but one of these balls or the 8 ball is going to be my key ball. That's assuming that I don't use the 9 ball as a key ball. That's possible, but it's really not necessary in this instance. So I believe that what I'm deciding to do now is to shoot the other ball, the 14 ball here, so that this ball is completely open to either corner pocket. And I want to play position to the up table ball, because the up table ball is my setup ball over here for the 3 to get on this. Does that make sense? This ball sets me up for this ball, which easily sets me up for this ball, which sets me up for the 12 or the 4. And then I'll be able to play position for the remaining ball and get on my key ball. So as you can see, up table. Now I got pretty straight. I would have preferred to have this angle so I can bounce off the rail. But for that matter, having this angle is fine because I can bounce off the head rail and get position. So very versatile ball, not much of a trouble ball. It's a very good setup ball. Now I looked at my angle as I was walking up table, because as I mentioned, here's the shot line to the pocket and I want to be below that. So I've made sure that my cue ball was below that shot line. Now I have a decision to make, and as you can see, I'm grabbing the talk to take another look, because I'm going to shoot the 4 and break the rack with this stripe. Shooting the 4 means that the tangent line is this way, my cue ball is going to go this way. So I have a couple of options. I could just sort of pinch this ball and then play the 8 ball and bounce out here for this ball as my key ball. My other option is to go past this stripe to the rail and back out to center table, in which case, if I come far enough, I would have an option to shoot this ball as my K2 and play position somehow for this as the key ball. So it becomes a choice between whether I want to use the 8 or this stripe as my key ball. I think this is the better key ball because it goes in either pocket, and that means that I can play position here and come up here for my break shot, or this way for my break shot. Those are probably the least desirable. If I have position over here, I can go again 1 rail for my break shot or 2 rails for the break shot. So I think this is a more versatile key ball. Let's see if that's what I do. I think it is. Yeah, because I'm definitely not going to shoot the stripe from there. So I was playing purposely for this angle, which is one that I can control very well to bounce off the rail and come out here for the 14. Now this time I stayed low. Let's mark that spot. Let me pause this for a second. So I just pointed with my tip where I wanted the cue ball for the break shot. That's something you want to really do because it fixes it in your mind. You know, every shot you want to stand behind the object ball and make a decision of where you want the cue ball to go. But it's especially important on the break shot. So I pointed my cue and I literally placed the tip of my cue on the cloth to say, this is where I want the cue ball. Now, obviously, with this angle, I'm going to go 1 rail and back out. That's a lot of cue ball movement for a key ball. So it's really critical I get this right. Now, if the cue ball stops short, I've still got a break shot, although it's a harder one because I've got to hit it so hard. And if the cue ball comes long, I still have a break shot again, but it's a harder shot. It's a much thinner cut shot. So I really think in this instance, the better position for the cue ball from the 8 would have been to come up higher. And that's because I think this is a more controllable route. Let me get rid of these lines. I think it's a more controllable route to go 2 rails around the break ball back to center table. It's a close call. Maybe it's 60-40. Let's see how well I hit this position. And if my head stays down. Not too bad. And real good. Oh, I erased my spot. But I think my spot was about here. So I've got very close to the same angle, the angle that I wanted. The cue ball's up a little bit higher, which is no consequence at all. Now this break shot is just a straight high ball. You could put some outside English if you want. I think the old timers would want to hit this with left English and come to center table, but I think I've mentioned before, I really don't like that shot on modern equipment. These tables are generally too fast, and you can lose the cue ball real easily. So this is just a center ball with a medium firm stroke. Yep, and I had a similar break shot in a recent rack of the week where the cue ball stalled, started to go forward, and then got hit by the ball that was rebounding off the bottom rail. So this is an ideal result, and I'm back in business. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found that informative and helpful. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Check out my book, A Short Stop on Straight Pool. You can find it at shortstoponpool.com. And stay tuned for next week's Rack of the Week.